Hey everyone, Roshni here. In this video, I want to talk about Kuchisabishii, or lonely mouth syndrome. With so many of us working from home without a good routine, maybe with a little bit too much access to snacks or to food, we might find ourselves wandering over to the kitchen on autopilot during the virtual workday. Kuchisabishii, this Japanese term for something called lonely mouth syndrome, has various root causes: lack of control, boredom, stress. If you're dealing with unwanted snacking, whether it's because of stress or boredom or some other reason, and if you find yourself wrestling with poor eating habits, poor nutrition habits that you've developed since the pandemic or while working at home, here are 3 simple tweaks for crushing lonely mouth syndrome and for making sure that Kuchisabishii doesn't result in unwanted weight gain or poor nutrition for you during the virtual workday. If this is your first time at the Expeditionary Mindset channel, please make sure that you subscribe and hit that bell icon to receive videos that help you level up your professional and personal reinvention journey. Okay, so here's tip number 1 for relieving lonely mouth syndrome. Use a small bowl or a plate. If you find yourself wandering over to the fridge to snack during the workday or during odd hours, that's cool. Sometimes it's needed. Sometimes it's good for well-being, but try if you can to use a small plate or a smaller bowl for your snacks instead of eating directly out of a bag or directly from some other kind of container. And here's why. There's something called the Delboeuf illusion, which you can see illustrated here. Imagine that the 2 black circles are food on 2 plates, food on a big plate, food on a small plate. And these black circles are actually the same size, but much like when you put food on a small plate, it actually looks like more food than the same amount of food would on a big plate. So eating off a smaller plate actually gives us a greater sense of satisfaction, a greater sense of contentment. The Delboeuf illusion is a real thing that you can use to make sure that you have more control over how much you eat and that you get more satisfaction from any snacking or eating that you do over the course of a work from home workday. That gets to tip number 2. You've heard this probably a million times, most likely, but it's so relevant to crushing Kuchisabishii and stress or boredom eating. And it's this: try your best to avoid eating in front of a screen of any kind. There's a reason that you've heard people warn against eating lunch at your desk from behind a computer screen, or why eating in front of TV or Netflix is less than ideal. It's because when you eat in front of a screen, whether it's for work or not, your attention is not on the food. It's going off in many other areas, many other directions. And chances are that you are hardly aware of the fuel, the calories that you are putting into your body. So people who eat in front of screens actually consume 30% more calories than when they actually focus on the eating, when they are aware of the action of eating. And by honoring the fact that you're putting nutrition into your body, you're much more aware of the sensation of getting full. So you wind up eating less. You're also probably much more able to enjoy the food or the snack that you're eating. This gets to a final tweak, number 3. It's a mindset tweak. Since we're talking about Kuchisabishii and it's a Japanese term, I want to introduce one other Japanese term that's really relevant for mindful eating. It's called hara hachi, which is eating till you're 80% full rather than 100% full. This is a really important concept in Japan, and having lived there for 6 years, it really is clearly woven into the culture of how people eat and think about food. Many people eat till they're 80% full rather than 100% full or more, right? And what does this mean? It means that biologically speaking, they're not stretching their stomachs each time they eat to eat as much as possible. And by eating to 80% fullness instead of more, there is always a little bit of desire there, right? A little bit of longing there that creates an appreciation for food. People look forward to the next meal or the next snack. And over time, there's adopting this mindset of hara hachi bunmei. It amounts to eating less, but also it preserves a true sense of appreciation and gratitude for food and for eating. This awareness is actually the exact opposite of Kuchisabishii, which is lonely mouth syndrome, eating without awareness, eating without mindfulness. So I hope that you found this video useful, and I hope that wherever you are, whatever you're doing, whatever you're snacking on, you are safe and you are weathering this storm with ease. If you're dealing with Kuchisabishii or other unwanted eating habits, I'm curious to know below what's worked for you. I wish you all the best with coping and with adopting an expeditionary mindset, and I will see you next time.